What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your first time here. Today I'm going to be going over my top 10 loadouts for Warzone this season. There's some really good ones in there, some fun ones in there, and just kind of giving you the logic of why I build these things the way I build them. This is all going to be on that same spreadsheet that I've been building over the last week in those other 3 videos. So I'll link those 3 videos below if you want to see the justification for primaries, SMGs, and sniper supports. And then as far as each loadout goes, there's going to be a little description on the Google Sheet, so you can see exactly why I picked what I picked and kind of give justification for different things. As always, if you like the content, please drop a sub, a like, and a comment to help us out with the algorithm and help the channel keep growing, and that helps to support the website as well. But let's jump into it and we'll start going through the loadouts. So at the top here, I've got what I think are the top perks, lethals, and tacticals. I don't really go through those for all the builds unless they're essential to the loadout. So I think only one of them really covers that. But perks wise, I think EOD and Cold Blooded are both very good right now. Obviously, for the middle perk, Ghost, Overkill, and High Alert are all pretty good, but Ghost's what you want to end up with most of the time. High Alert is in a decent spot as well, especially with the fact that you can hear dead silence players now when you use High Alert. Third perk slot, generally Amped, is what I'm going to recommend just because weapon swap time is super important, especially up close in close quarters combat. Combat Scout's also really good, and Tracker can be pretty good depending on the player. I don't work well with Tracker personally, so I don't ever use it, but Amps and Combat Scout are both very good for me. Lethals, I think Semtex, Thermite, Throwing Knife, C4, and Claymores are all really good. C4 is still very good, even though it's been, the throw distance has been nerfed. It's still super good. You can still throw it pretty far. And it still blows up vehicles in one single C4, and it does a lot of damage to players as well. So C4 is still a really good option. Tacticals, Stuns, Heartbeat, and Snapshot I think are the 3 best. Flashes are pretty good too. Obviously stuns are kind of OP. Heartbeat sensor is what I pretty much always use. Snapshot grenades are actually really good now. They last a little bit longer than they used to, and when you snapshot somebody, your whole team can see them, not just you now. So that's a big benefit there. But let's start going through these loadouts. So loadout number 1, I called it doesn't play a lot. So this is focused for people that just don't play the game very much anymore. And honestly, this is me at this point, unfortunately. I just have too much going on. I don't get to play very much anymore. So the logic behind this is using 2 guns that most likely won't ever get nerfed or won't get nerfed anytime soon. So you can learn them, learn how to use them, learn the recoil patterns, things like that, and just get good with weapons that that won't ever change. You don't have to worry about this being a bad choice at any point in the future, in the near future at least. So for this, I went with the Grau or the M13. The Grau and M13 are almost identical right now in terms of actual stats. Grau has a little bit worse TTKs up close, but a little bit better TTKs at range. And the Grau has better mobility, better ADS time by just a little tiny bit. They're super similar guns. Obviously, Grau shoots a little slower, so you're going to conserve more ammo there. But they're both really good, really easy to control, and I don't expect them to get changed anytime soon. And I do think they fit into the meta right now. So I think it's a great choice for someone who doesn't play a lot, is to stick with one of these 2 guns and just learn how to use those each time they play. The build that I like to use is Monolithic Nexus VLK Commando Foregrip 60 round mag. I've put PC build and console build on here, so if you're a console player, this is my recommended build for you. Basically, swap to the Archangel barrel and swap the VLK to attack laser. This is the old meta build from back in the day, and that's because you get so much zoom with the independent FOV settings on console that you can just use iron sights and you'll be fine. This is a really good build for a console player. But I use the Nexus barrel because the stats are very similar to the Archangel, and they allow me to have better ADS times, better mobility. Just in general, it makes the gun feel a little faster and quicker. And the difference between the 2 barrels is minimal, except the Archangel has those really nice iron sights. But we're not using iron sights because we're using a VLK. I also put Corpalo sight here if you are on console. So if you do want to use an optic and get a little bit more zoom, just swap that VLK to the Core Combat Holo sight. To complement that, I say either the MP7 or the Modern Warfare MP5. They're both in very good spots right now. Basically, again, the logic here is I don't think either of these guns are going to get touched for a long time. So you can start to learn them. Even if you don't play very much, they're always going to be close to the meta. They're not going to be the absolute best, but they're going to be close to it. So the MP7 recommended build is Monolithic Strike Barrel, 50 round mag, sleight of hand, or operator foregrip. Basically, if you want better recoil, you go with the operator foregrip. If you want to reload quicker, go with sleight of hand. The reason we're doing 50 round mag is because the 60 just kills your mobility for the MP7, whereas the 50 round doesn't hurt it that much. And then the last attachment is no stock, and that's just to speed it up and make it quicker, better hip fire, things like that. Overall, a very good gun right now. I used this a bunch the other day and it worked really well for me in Verdansk. Another option is the Modern Warfare MP5. This is sort of a faster killing option than the MP7, but with less effective range, less actual range, and less effective range. So monolithic integral barrel, I use that because it hides your tracers, even though it doesn't say it does, it actually does. 45 round mag, sleight of hand, F-Tac collapsible stock, which is no stock, and either an optic or 5 milliwatt laser or operator foregrip would be what I would use for that last slot. So on mouse and key, I hate not having an optic. I hate dying when I feel like I can't see the person, and when my gun's bouncing around like crazy and there's muzzle flash and all kinds of stuff, and I have iron sights that obstruct my view at all, I get really frustrated. So I'm probably going to mostly use the Solo Zero, but an option would be to use the 5 milliwatt to get really good hip fire and better sprint to fire times, or if you are on console, or if you just don't mind the iron sights like I do, you could use operator foregrip. That doesn't hurt your mobility, but will help with recoil a bunch and just make you more effective and stretch that effective range out. Again, every single one of these loadouts has a written description of why I chose what I chose, and this spreadsheet will be shared below. Next up is what I consider the absolute meta right now. Basically, this is the best loadout you can build for Warzone. Gun 1 is going to be either the EM2, AK-47, or XM4. I think they are all extremely close right now. They're all fantastic. Try all three, see which one feels the best to you, and go from there. The build's the same for all of them except the mags. So agency suppressor, last barrel, axial 3X, 40 round mag for the EM2, 45 round mag for the Cold War AK, 60 round mag for the XM4, and then field agent grip just for better recoil. Console build is just basically exactly the same except replacing the 3X with the Silix Hollow Scout, just because you don't need that extra zoom on console because you have independent FOV. And then your second gun to complement this is going to be either the Cold War MP5 or the OTS9. I think they're both fantastic. Cold War MP5 basically has better damage per mag. So if you're playing quads or you're playing iron trials or something like that, Cold War MP5 might be the better option. It also has a little bit longer damage range, but just minimally. The builds for these are slightly different than each other. So the Cold War MP5 is Agency, Tiger Team Spotlight, Bruiser Grip, 50 round drum, and SAS combat stock. I've talked about this before, but the SAS combat stock gives you better ADS movement speed and doesn't hurt your hip fire quite as much. So that's why I recommend it over the Raider stock in most cases. There's some specific cases where I don't, and we'll talk about that when I get to them. Bruiser Grip instead of Patrol Grip. This I might change my mind on. I'm going back and forth between the two. I'm going to probably make a video on that very soon, and we'll talk about which one that would be. And then once I make that video and I for sure come to a conclusion on which one I think is better, anywhere you see either one of them, just replace it with whatever I decide is the best in that video. Basically, you don't want to barrel on the Cold War MP5 because if you use a blueprint, you get those really good open and clean iron sights for the Cold War MP5. So that's why there's no task force barrel on this build. But the OTS9 does have the task force barrel. Agency suppressor, task force, 40 round fast mag, Spetsnaz stock, and Tiger Team Spotlight. Again, Spetsnaz stock is the same as the SAS combat stock. It just gives you the best ADS movement speed that you can get, which is what you're going for. Same with Tiger Team. Tiger Team gives you that ADS movement speed as well as sprint speed and normal movement speed. So I think Tiger Team is a fantastic attachment. The third loadout is the meta sniper loadout. These are in no particular order, by the way. These are just loadouts that as I was thinking of them, I just built them here and wrote them down. So I think the Swiss is the best sniper in the game right now. It has great zoom, has a fast reload time, has the same bullet velocity as the Kar98. The only caveat to that is that the Kar98 does have better aim assist. I covered that in a video recently. I linked the video in the description here of the Swiss, but overall, I do like the Swiss more, especially on mouse and key. If you're on controller, try them both, see which one feels better to you. Some people said the Swiss aim assist actually feels better than them because better to them than the Kar aim assist because it's not messing with your aim as much. So you don't have to get used to the aim assist. You just do what you would normally do, and it felt better to them. So just try them both, see which one you like. The build is just Grease Suppressor, Combat Recon, 5mm laser, Airborne Elastic, either Fast Mag, Bruiser, or SAS Combat Stock. The difference between those three, obviously Fast Mag, super quick reload, no ADS penalty. Bruiser Grip gives you better aiming stability, which is really nice for a sniper. And then SAS Combat Stock for maximum strafe speed, basically, ADS movement speed. And that allows you to kind of like jiggle peek walls almost left and right, which is really, really crazy how fast you can move with this. Just way, way faster than the Kar98. And to complement that, I think there's three really clear winners for sniper support right now: PPSH, XM4, and Cold War AK. Some people just don't vibe with PPSH. It's my favorite. This is my build for sniper support. I use the Spetsnaz grip to help with recoil. I use an optic because I need to extend that range out and have a clear view of my target. Raider stock. So I said before, I usually recommend that SAS combat stock, which is the 5th stock, instead of the Raider stock. That's only true for guns that don't have open bolt delay. So PPSH has open bolt delay, so we want to overcome that open bolt delay a little bit by helping with those sprint to fire times, because the time that it takes from sprinting to firing with a gun that has open bolt delay is really the sprint to fire time plus the open bolt delay. So we need to reduce that sprint to fire time to make this shoot at the same time as a normal SMG with the other stock. So that's why I recommend Raider stock on the PPSH. XM4, the only interesting thing to talk about here would be the Silix Hollow Scout instead of just a normal red dot. And I'm going to cover that soon in a video. So that will be, just for now, just trust me. I mean, try it out, see if it feels good. If it doesn't feel good, use a normal red dot. But I'm going to make a video on that very soon. But you can't go wrong with any of these three. They're all fantastic. Loadout 4 is the Sneaky Boy. So the Sneaky Boy is a no-glint Car 98. This is a really good loadout that nobody uses for some reason. It's monolithic suppressor, longest barrel, tack laser. Then they use the Cronin C480 with a T-pose reticle. And then the precision comb stock. You need the precision comb stock instead of the ADS stock because you can't hold your breath with the Cronin C480. So in order to be accurate with that aim sway, you need to reduce the aim sway a bunch. So the precision comb stock plus the tack laser makes it so it's basically sitting still, and you don't really have to correct for that at all, which is essential. Basically, you get a really fast reload with this. You reload the entire clip at once, which is awesome. You don't load one bullet at a time like you do normally with the Car 98. The difference in zoom is 2.8x with the sniper scope versus 2.3x with the Cronin C480. So it's not that big of a difference. You do lose that really nice big optic viewing area. I'm not trying to say it's as good as a sniper scope. It's not, but you get so many other benefits. You get better ADS time, no glint, and the fast reload time. And it's a really fun build. So I'd just try it out. Sniper supports are exactly the same as the last recommendation for sniper supports, so I'm not going to go through those. Next up is the fully loaded Ghost loadout. So this is kind of the pick this up on your second box if you want fully loaded, or if you're dropping into the game at the end of the game and you don't have a loadout after winning a gulag or something, and your loadout drops, towards the end of the game, then you could pick this up and get all the ammo you need. So I recommend the Grau for this, just because the Grau has those really good iron sights. Same build for console and PC, just monolithic, either Nexus or Archangel, depending on which one you like. Again, Nexus gives you better mobility, a lot better ADS times, but you don't get those amazing irons. They're still good. They're still some of the best irons in the game, but they're not quite as good as the Archangel. Obviously, fully loaded, get all that ammo. Commando foregrip, 60 round mag, pretty standard there. Second gun, you have to use a Modern Warfare gun to get fully loaded. I've got the Renetti and the Psychov on here. So Renetti is monolithic, the burst, mod, barrel, lightweight trigger, so you shoot a little bit faster, 27 round mag, and then fully loaded. Renetti has fantastic TTKs. Headshots on pistols do tons and tons of damage, so if you burst up into somebody's head, you can get crazy good TTKs with Renetti. And you're going to have a lot better mobility with the Renetti than you are with the Psychov build that I have here. So the Psychov is the monolithic suppressor. I don't know why it says integral. We'll just fix that real fast. 80 round drum, the automatic firing barrel, either an optic or 5 milliwatt or tack laser, depending on what you want. And then fully loaded. Again, I like the Renetti more. I think the Renetti overall is a better choice for most people, but the Psychovs can be really easy to just beam people with because you have 80 rounds of automatic fire. So they're both good. Loadout 6 is for recon gamers. So not everybody, but most people are either using the Swiss or the HDR right now for this. And I still think the ZRG is probably better for this gameplay style. So the ZRG has the fastest bullet velocity, does way more damage to the body, has more bullet penetration than the HDR and the Swiss. The one complaint that the gun has over the HDR is it has bad optics. So the default optic doesn't have enough zoom really for long range shots like the HDR variable zoom does. If that's the case and you're trying to hit those really long shots, you can pop on the Hangman optic instead of an airborne elastic grip, and that will give you much better zoom. So the build is just pretty standard: wrap suppressor, combat recon barrel, 5 milliwatt laser, 5 round mag, and airborne elastic. I use airborne elastic on all my Cold War snipers because it has better aiming stability, and I really value that. I just think it's a really important stat for a sniper. It doesn't have quite as good ADS times as the Serpent though, so if you only care about ADS times, use the Serpent over the airborne elastic. Sniper supports again are the same here as all the other sniper loadouts. Loadout 7, I call that I can't control recoil. This is really a loadout designed for people that just struggle with controlling recoil. Maybe they're new to FPS games, or just new to the whatever input they're using or something. If you're struggling to control recoil, this loadout is going to be for you. So Fin LMG with monolithic suppressor, long shot advantage barrel, not long shot adverse, advantage barrel, tac laser, commando foregrip, and then VLK 3X. And then same build, but if you're on console, swap for the core combat hollow, just so you don't have so much zoom. Basically, the Fin without the adverse barrels has pretty much no recoil. I mean, it's perfectly straight up, ridiculously easy to control. It doesn't have good TTKs, but at range, the most important thing is hitting your shots. So if you're shooting somebody 30 to 100 meters away, and you're missing shots with every other gun, but you can hit those shots with the Fin, even though it has bad TTKs, it's gonna be better. It's gonna have better effective TTKs because it's so important to actually hit your target. I'd say try it out. If you're someone that struggles with recoil, try it out. It's actually really good. Second gun to go with that, again, this is targeted at people that struggle with controlling recoil and potentially accuracy as well. So monolithic suppressor, strike barrel, 5mm laser, commando foregrip, sleight of hand, or 60-round mag, either one. So sleight of hand would make you have better mobility with this build. 60-round mag and a commando foregrip is going to make this MP7 really, really slow. But again, this isn't a mobility build. This is aimed at really, really accurate weapons. So between monolithic, strike, commando, and 5mm, you're going to have all your bases covered. You're going to be really accurate at range because the commando is going to make it really, really low recoil, really low visual shake. 5mm is going to make it so you can hip fire up close. If you struggle with tracking your target up close, a lot of the times hip fire is going to be better because you don't have to be perfectly accurate with your reticle or your aim when you're hip firing. So that's kind of why I built it this way. Just really accurate everywhere. It is going to be slower because it has that commando foregrip, but it might be worth it if you're somebody that just struggles to hit shots. Loadout number 8 is the maximum melt potential loadout. So this is like the best TTKs in the game in a practical sense for loadouts. So there might be some guns with better TTKs, but they're just not really practical to use. So first gun, MG82. MG82 has basically the best TTKs in the game still. The build is Agency Suppressor, Task Force, Axial 3X, Field Agent Grip, Fast Mag. If you're on console, swap out that Axial for a Hollow Scout. The Fin Adverse is close in terms of TTKs, but it doesn't have a headshot multiplier, and both these guns have quite a bit of recoil, so you're going to end up shooting up into someone's head at some point, and you're going to want to have a headshot multiplier. The Fin Adverse also really struggles with bullet velocity. It's really low bullet velocity. It is a fun gun, and it's a good gun, but I just think the MG82 overall makes more sense for most people. MG82 has perfectly straight vertical recoil, but it has a lot of it. So it takes some mastery to get used to, but it's still a really good gun right now. It's one of the best for sure. Just has a really high amount of skill required to use it, so that's why it's probably not as popular as some of the other options. And then secondary to go with this, I chose the DMR-14. Again, this is for the best TTKs possible. If you mix like one headshot in with a DMR, you get ridiculously good TTKs. It's very difficult to use, just like the MG2, but the potential is there to absolutely melt people, and that's what this loadout was all about. So this build is silencer, titanium barrel, mill stop reflex, Raider stock, 30-round mag, Raider stock, and silencer to get those ADS times and sprint to fire times down a lot. Since it's a DMR, it has high sprint to fire times by default, so we want to bring those down as much as possible to make this more like an SMG. Titanium for faster fire rate, mill stop because the iron sights are bad on this thing, and then 30-round mag. This is a really, really fast killing gun, faster than any SMG in the game by a decent amount if you hit a headshot. So fun loadout, really hard to use, but fun. I wanted to do a loadout specifically for getting Ghost off the first loadout that you get. So for this, I recommend that same meta EM2 Cold War AK XM4 that I did, I think, in Loadout 2, where it was like the maximum meta build. These are all the same as that. And then secondary, I think the amp, for me personally, is the best. The amp feels better than SMGs half the time to me, and I don't really know why. You can get really good TTKs, really good mobility, has great iron sights. It's way too good for a pistol. So Agency Suppressor, Task Force, Tiger Team, 30-round fast mag, and then either speed tape or a microflex LED if you want an optic. But again, the irons are fantastic on this thing. I mean, I regularly fry people out to 20, 30 meters with this amp. I don't know why it's so good, but it feels awesome. So I think you can't go wrong with this. Honestly, I like to use a second gun because I like to have guns to experiment with, but there's almost no reason for me personally to pick up anything except this loadout if I want to, do the best I can in a lobby. Another really good option for your secondary would be the RPG, because right now a lot of people are running, they're not running EOD anymore because of Combat Scout. They're running Cold Blooded. So we could go back to the old days with, you know, you'd have the amped perk and then an RPG, and you could just unload RPGs into a building and it would do tons of damage because most people are running cold-blooded now instead of EOD. Speaking of that, Loadout 10 is the toxic support player loadout. So for this one, perks and lethals and tacticals are all important, so I included those here. So perks, EOD, restock, combat scout, lethals, semtex, tacticals, snapshot grenades. So you can probably see where I'm going with this. Your gun number 1 is going to be the PKM. You specifically want to use the Old Country Blueprint if you have it, because it has some of the best iron sights in the game. So check if you have that. But monolithic suppressor, heavy barrel, snatch grip, FMJ, tac laser. So again, you probably see where this is going. FMJ, restock, snapshots, combat scout. Basically, we're trying to shoot people through walls with this build, and it's actually really good. It's super toxic, but it's really good. And one of the fun things about it is if you can't see them showing up when you shoot them, you know they have cold-blooded. And as soon as you know they have cold-blooded, you can swap to your RPG, because that means they don't have EOD. It's just the combination between these two weapons and all the perks and stuff makes this really fun and just kind of silly, but really fun. One of the perks for snapshots now is that they work for your entire team, not just you. So if you throw a snapshot and it picks somebody up, that'll show them for everybody on your team, not just you. So that's pretty crazy, and actually they're really good now. This is a super fun loadout to run, especially on like Rebirth, where a lot more of the combat is in buildings and things like that. It works really well there. All right, so those are the 10 loadouts that I built for this video. Obviously, I could have kept going. I have a lot more that I could build that would all be, you know, fun and semi-viable, but I just didn't want to make the video 45 minutes long because I'm trying to get new people to come to my channel, and if they see a video that's 30 minutes long, they're not going to click. So if you are new here, a lot of my videos are longer, but usually they're pretty informative. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it. This is one of my favorite videos I've ever made. I feel like I really did a lot of good work leading up to this, put more time into these videos than I have the vast majority of the videos on my channel, and just I think it came out really well with a lot of good results. So I hope you guys liked it. I don't have much else to talk about. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next video, which will be out tomorrow.